Hey, it's Drew. Welcome back to the dungeon. I thought I would drill down a little bit more in detail on something I touched on in my intro video, and that is the three pillars of D&D. So the three true pillars, in my opinion, right? So the three pillars, everybody knows that they have always been defined as exploration, combat, and social interaction. What I think the three true pillars of a good D&D campaign are actually heroic tone, epic scope, and narrative-based progression. I think these things are the true things that make your campaign really pop and be memorable and be fun, rather than equally balancing these mechanical aspects. If you have these themes kind of bleeding through everything that you're doing, then everything that you're doing will become more fun. So let's touch on the first one of those in this video. We'll do two more videos, one on each of the other pillars. So heroic tone. Now, Matt Colville has a great video about why the PCs should be heroes, why things should generally be heroic. But my own 2 cents on this is that there are several reasons. Let's define our terms first, right? So heroic means that they're generally willing to do the right thing, to help people, to save people, to step in, to fight on the side of the oppressed, to overthrow evil tyrants, to put themselves in danger, to make the world a better place, right? They're down to save the world. And that kind of like idealistic and positive tone. The first and biggest reason why is that I play D&D with friends, right? With people who I care about, and I want them to feel good. I want us all to feel good. I want this thing to be a positive experience that we all come away from feeling kind of, I don't know, a little bit energized, a little bit uplifted, a little bit like we could be heroes, right? I want us to feel what it could be like to be a hero. I don't want people to come away from the game feeling negative and down and sad and grossed out. I don't want negativity. It's a bit counterintuitive because heroes need to face adversity in order to feel heroic. So you have to put people in bad situations. And the best situations are ones where the heroes barely scrape by. They barely survive. The stakes are high and they barely pull it off. That's the most exciting stuff and the most memorable stuff. So it's a bit counterintuitive because it's not like this, happy kitty fun island thing where there's no danger. That's not it at all. The heroes need to triumph in the face of adversity. But if they do that, if the adversity is genuine and they're fighting on the side of good, then I firmly believe that everybody will come away from that game feeling kind of, feeling good. And that's fundamentally it. Like, why would you want to play a game where you end up feeling bad at the end? So that's the first reason. I play with friends and I want them to feel good when we play. The second reason is more like a mechanical running the game type of a thing. If your PCs are generally all on the same page, i.e. they are down to help people, then they're probably going to more easily take the hooks that you give them in the adventure. If someone runs up and begs them for help, they're probably going to say yes, right? If someone goes missing, they probably want to go find them. All of these things make running the game a bit easier because it's more forgiving for the DM, especially if you're new, especially if you're just starting out. If your PCs are on the same page as you and everybody is trying to build this story together, then you're going to have a much better time of it than if the PCs are all trying to do their own thing and they're trying to come up with reasons why they shouldn't go into the forest and they're trying to, go and steal things from the innkeeper who's been nothing but kind to them and do all these kinds of edgelord annoying, my agency and all the rest of it, I should be free to do whatever I want in the world. And I would actually say no. You should be free to do whatever serves the story best that you are all building together. You have a responsibility to the rest of the table, to everyone that you're playing with, and to the world, not to do dumb shit that's going to disrupt stuff. Unless it's super funny and not overdone. You can get away with that stuff every now and again if it makes your character charming, if it's like a roguish thing they're doing, or a habit they can't break, or something that adds depth. But again, that serves the story, right? It could be argued that serves the story. So that's mechanically why this is advantageous, because basically it will make the game run smoother if people don't sit there for hours in the town debating about whether they should go and fight the ogres or not. And you've got a whole adventure planned beyond the ogres. Like the ogres was just the first thing, right? And they've already taken 45 minutes of debate about, but we don't know if it's, especially if it's like that Sorry, I'm going to go like off on a rant now. That faux intellectual, oh, but what if we're the bad guys? What if we're encroaching on their territory? Sure, they came and like murdered a bunch of the villagers and burned their crops, but what if it's just blah, 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 blah. Shut up. Just make the game a simple tale of good versus evil, especially if you're starting out. You can add wrinkles and gray areas later. I did. They're interesting. Not all the time, right? Not over every little thing. Sometimes bad guys are just bad guys, and they need to be dealt with. We have this tendency, it's also in modern culture, right, to do all this hand-wringing about, oh, there's no such thing as good and evil. Everything is relative, and I'm frightfully brainy. I'm so intelligent. I need to tell everyone that I can see all the perspectives of this situation with my mighty gigabrain. Oh, the weight of my intellect. That stuff is just tiresome, right? To me, you might love it. Good on you. I want to go fight some ogres. That's what I want to do, right? I want to go have some fun, do some heroic stuff, and kill some imaginary bad guys. Okay, so third reason, as the DM, and this is one that maybe I don't think I've seen it mentioned all that much, but as the DM, you're forced to think from the perspective of the bad guys a lot. Right? And if you need to put the effort in, you need to think about why they're doing the things that they're doing and the way that they would do the things that they're doing. The way that an evil antagonist would act. That is not a pleasant thing to do a lot of the time. There's a lot of brutality involved. There's a lot of just predatory, like if you really think about, I saw a video the other day and there was a wounded soldier like dragging himself across a field and two other soldiers came up and robbed him. And then just walked off and left him to die. That is, it's so callous, right? It's so horrible. But that is the way that evil characters act. And I find it unpleasant to inhabit that, but I have to in order to work out realistic motivations for those characters. I don't want to spend any longer than necessary in that realm. I want to do enough work to make it believable and set up the antagonists so that they are satisfying for the PCs to defeat. But I don't want to then turn around and have to narrate a whole bunch of horrific shit that the PCs are doing. You tell me that you want to go and, burn the innocent peasants' village to the ground and murder them all this awful stuff, and then you expect me as the DM to sit there and narrate that back to you, to tell you what that looks like, how the peasants scream for mercy and all the rest. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. It makes me feel bad. And you asking me to do it, frankly, is a little weird. Get away from my social circle. Get off my table and frankly stay away from my family. Thank you. Like, it's perfectly possible to be an anti-hero who still goes on the adventure, right? Who has misgivings, who is jaded. Maybe like it's perfectly possible to play a coward who still goes on the adventure. These people do the right thing in the end. There's different stripes of hero, and that makes them interesting. They have different motivations, but they still go on the adventure. And in the end, they still fight the bad guy. And in the end, the world is a better place, despite their misgivings and their hesitations and all their flaws. There's nothing wrong with that stuff. I'm not saying don't play interesting characters. I'm saying outright evil, or like random edgelord, chaotic neutral, haha, I'm going to steal everything. We all know the kind of stuff. Just look at RPG horror stories. I don't want to narrate that stuff. I want to narrate you being positive and heroic and defeating evil and defending people. That's what I want as a DM. And I think we all need to be on the same page, right? So those are a few ideas about why I think heroic tone is one of the pillars, one of the core things that you need in order to make your game memorable and cool. Probably the final thought is that heroism and good actions tend to have more longevity. If your goal is to defeat evil, something that's simple, then you can uncover more and more and more as you go. You can face larger and larger opponents. You can see maybe the conspiracy spreads into a thing. Eventually, the stakes get higher and higher. You fight like a local bandit. You find out that he's actually been controlled by a group of cultists, and you go and defeat them. And then you find out that maybe like an evil demigod is that you're trying to come back to the world. Things kind of, you can grow this way until eventually you're fighting for the entirety of reality, the fate of a multiverse, the fate of all life. If you're a champion of good, you can get to that situation. If you're evil, you tend to undo yourself, right? You'll overextend, you'll be too greedy, you'll steal from the wrong person, you'll backstab the wrong crime lord. Being evil is more about like getting stuff for yourself. So you would want to be the one conquering and dominating and subjugating people in the end. You would want to be the evil warlord in the castle. You become the BBEG. That's your end game. And it's just, I don't see a way to make that scale across like 30 levels of experience without it just becoming a crushingly disgusting and depressing thing. Just an experience that I would not want to be involved with. It's likely to fall apart, right? Like the people who you betray are going to come after you. The criminals that you associate with, they're going to sell you out. It's just so hard for like that character to kind of progress. Whereas I know what it looks like for a heroic character to progress and to be able to give them progressively bigger and bigger challenges. To me, that seems much more intuitive. So yeah, those are some thoughts. My take on why heroism is important to D&D. In the next video, we'll look at Epic Scope. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Why would you want to play Monopoly where you fight with your family? No. Shade at all the Monopoly fans.